Most people don't realize a friendship is toxic until they're already empty, already drained, already wondering why they feel so tired around people who are supposed to fill them up. You've been there, sitting in a room full of people you call friends, but feeling more alone than when you're by yourself, laughing at jokes that don't land, nodding at stories you've heard 100 times, performing closeness while feeling distance you can't explain. And the worst part? You couldn't even name it. Because they weren't cruel, they weren't obviously bad. They showed up sometimes. They said the right things sometimes. They made you feel included sometimes. But sometimes isn't a friendship. Sometimes is a crumb. And you've been surviving on crumbs so long, you forgot what a meal feels like. Let me ask you something. When was the last time one of them asked how you were doing and actually waited for the answer? Not the quick, "You good?" that expects a nod. Not the surface check-in before pivoting back to themselves. A real question, a real pause, a moment where you felt like your answer mattered more than the next topic. If you can't remember, that's not forgetfulness, that's information. Here's what I've learned about toxic friendships. They don't announce themselves. They don't show up wearing red flags. They show up wearing history, shared memories, inside jokes, years of knowing each other that feel like cement, heavy, permanent, impossible to break. And that history becomes a cage. Because you've known them so long, you assume it means something. You confuse duration with depth. You mistake familiarity for loyalty. But time doesn't equal love. Some people have been in your life for years and never once met the real you. Never once asked what you actually needed. Never once showed up when showing up cost them something. They stayed because you were convenient, not because you were valued. Aristotle talked about friendship thousands of years ago. He said there are 3 kinds: friendships of utility, friendships of pleasure, and friendships of virtue. Most of yours? They've been utility. You were useful. You listened. You helped. You gave advice at 2 a.m. You lent money. You drove across town. You showed up to their crises while they forgot about your victories. And they called you brother. But a brother carries his share. A brother notices when you're drowning. A brother doesn't just take, he asks what he can give. Look around at the people you've called brothers. How many of them ever carried you? I'm not here to make you angry. Anger is easy. Anger burns hot and fades fast and leaves you emptier than before. I'm here to make you aware. Aware that you've been pouring into cups with holes. Aware that your exhaustion isn't weakness, it's depletion. Aware that the heaviness you feel after being with them isn't social fatigue, it's theft. They've been taking your energy without ever refilling it. And somewhere along the way, you started believing that's what friendship costs. But it doesn't. Real friendship doesn't leave you tired. It doesn't shrink you. It doesn't require you to perform or manage or constantly calibrate your worth. Real friendship breathes. It gives and takes in rhythm. It sees you, actually sees you, without needing to be asked. Think about what you've stopped sharing with them. Your dreams, because they always found a way to minimize them. Your struggles, because they made you feel like a burden. Your wins, because they couldn't celebrate without competing. You learned to edit yourself, to give them the version that wouldn't trigger their insecurity or inconvenience their comfort. And slowly, you disappeared. Not from the group, from yourself. There's a quote from Maya Angelou that's never left me. She said, "When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time." But here's the problem. Toxic friends don't show you once. They show you 100 times. In small ways you dismiss because of the history. The comments that sting but get laughed off. The exclusions that hurt but get explained away. The patterns you keep forgiving because you don't want to lose what you've invested. But investment isn't a reason to stay in a losing position. And that's what this is. A position where you keep paying in time, energy, emotion, and the returns never match. So what do? You don't need to burn it down. You don't need a speech or a confrontation or a group text explaining your departure. You just need to stop over-functioning. Stop being the one who always initiates. Stop being the one who always checks in. Stop being the glue that holds together something that would crumble without your effort. And see what remains. See who reaches for you when you stop reaching for them. See who notices your silence when you stop filling theirs. That's the test. And the results will tell you more than years of hoping ever did. I know this hurts. Because they weren't strangers. They were your people. Or so you thought. And letting go of that, letting go of who you believed them to be, feels like grief. Because it is grief. You're not just losing them. You're losing the version of the friendship you carried in your head. The one where they'd eventually show up the way you needed. The one where your loyalty would finally be matched. That version was never real. But your pain is. And your healing starts when you stop betraying yourself to maintain connections that starve you. You were never asking for too much. You were just surrounded by people who had too little to give. And now, maybe for the first time, you're seeing the difference. Not everyone who calls you brother will carry you like a brother. But somewhere out there are people who will. Make room for them, even if it means walking away from the ones who never made room for you.